What I wanted to show you today is some commercially prepared vines from a commercial producer in California. These were leftovers from an operation here in the Verde Valley that planted thousands and thousands of vines. I was able to snag a couple Syrah, and so I just wanted to show you first of all the structure. And so here we go. What they did was they took a cutting of the 1103. The cutting rooted. You can see where it was calloused and it rooted. And then what they did is they grafted it, and you can see the graft was a notch, and so they cut a notch in the top of the 1103, and then they took a piece of the Syrah and they stuck it in there during the dormant season, and so then that healed. You can see the callus formed around there. It forms kind of a wedge where it healed in there. And so what happened was it was a tiny piece with a bud. That bud has since broken out, and then that was cut, leaving two buds. And so now this actual vine is in its second year. And when they did that, all of that grafting, they actually took the vine and they dipped it into wax dip. And a lot of people see this. You can kind of just peel it off of there. That's just wax that's remained after the elements that it went through. These were grown in pretty perfect conditions, so they weren't exposed to much. And so what we do with these typically in this area is we're afraid of spring frosts. There's not a lot of buds here to break out, and so if, for instance, these broke out and we planted them too early and we did get one of those typical springs, we don't have a lot of opportunity for recovery there. And so what we do here is we bite the bullet, we wait till it's really, really warm. It's almost hot today, not for the sake of planting in the heat, but for the sake of not having the opportunity for any of these buds to freeze. Okay. So I'm going to take this Syrah vine. I have two of them. I'm going to plant them again in my home vineyard. And so the first thing that I want to do is just inspect to make sure the roots are adequate. A lot of times it's recommended that you give a slight cut to the roots. Again, if you were doing thousands of these in a day, you would just fold them up and do a trim. But you're just looking to encourage some new branching to make sure there's no damage. We're not really spending a lot of time looking at this, but we just do a slight trimming. We look at the top, make sure it's healthy, ready to go. We don't want to waste time putting in a vine that maybe is not acceptable. And so in preparation for this hole, I have pretty good garden soil here. It's like a silty loam. I'm not worried about digging a gigantic hole. Grapes are pretty tolerant. They can break through some amazing soil. Being perennial, they have an extensive root system. If I was in an area with poorer soils, I would try to dig a better hole, but this is an adequate size hole for this vine. And what I'm looking to do, my drip is already in and established, so I won't have any issues with watering. The worst thing that can happen is you have a faulty watering system or a system that you're not quite ready with. You got to make sure you're ready to go with the water when you plant your vines, because these are going to need water right away and you can't miss a day type of thing. And so I've prepared my hole. It's unamended. Any nutrients these vines are going to need, which they will need, I'll give to them later, not at this time. And I didn't use any mulch or any organic material, even though you could amend with some type of organic product. And so the soil that has been pulled out of this hole has been soaked down a little bit. Typically in a system where the drips are above, they'll run that for a day or so beforehand, and after the holes are dug, they'll run the drip onto that soil. I just watered this with a garden hose, and so I'm going to put my vine in. I'm looking to have this vine 4 inches above the ground level, and so this graft is going to be 4 inches. In my case, that's about the distance of my hand. So I'm going to take that loosened moist soil back in on the vine, pretty much just scooping it in. Okay, now I'm going to tamp it, pack it down. I want to make sure it's firm, seated around the soil. I got my 4 inches. It's right here on the post. I labeled on the post what variety it is. Again, this was Syrah. And so now immediately I have to start the water. All right. Okay, in earlier videos we looked at dormant bare root plantings, which is done as soon as the frost danger is past, but hopefully before temperatures are 105 degrees in these mid-elevation deserts. But today what I have is potted, green growing, this is actually Sagrantino. This is the size pot they come in, and what this was is during the winter there was a dormant rootstock. This is on 1103. There was a stick of 1103, and then I believe it was bench grafted the Sagrantino to the top, and you can actually see here, if I pull this wax away, you can see that notched graft there. It's starting to swell, and this is obviously taken. And so what we're going to do is we're going to plant this the same we would the dormant bare root. So most of this stalk is going to be below ground. I'm going to leave 4 inches above ground. And the issue we're going to have though is it's 105 degrees today, and it's not going to get any better for the rest of the summer. So this vine is going to stress, and so we're going to have to get a lot of water down on it, and we're going to lose some of the main terminal buds, but that's okay. We're just growing growth this year, getting the roots established, and then next year we'll cut to 2 buds. Okay, and I'm going to put these here on the post. I have my other vines here in the lines, and they're progressing. But I've decided to put Sagrantino here on the post. I'm going to twine it up around the post and then do a unilateral training there. So we'll see how it turns out.